If you or someone you love is trying to figure out life after a stroke and vision is part of that puzzle, things can get overwhelming fast. Today, we're not talking about magic cures. We're talking about a real, practical plan to find your footing again.
Yeah, this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? That feeling of being trapped. It has absolutely nothing to do with being weak. It is the most normal response in the world when suddenly your own space is full of sharp edges, blinding glare, and surprises that just weren't there before. So, here's my promise to you in this explainer. We're going to lay out a path forward that you can actually manage. This is all about finding stability first, so you can build a recovery that lasts, because your energy is a precious, finite resource. All right, let's get right into it. The very first thing we have to wrap our heads around is this. Most of the time, post-stroke vision problems aren't actually a problem with your eyes. The issue is with how your brain is trying to make sense of the information your eyes are sending it. Think of it like this. It's a great analogy. Your eyes are like a camera. They might be in perfect working order, capturing a beautiful, clear picture. But the stroke might have damaged the editing room. The part of the brain that's supposed to take all those pictures, stitch them together, and tell a coherent story. That's exactly why you can go to an eye doctor, pass all the tests, but still feel like your vision is completely broken. And this confusion in the editing room leads to a couple of really common issues that often get mixed up. So a field cut means you are literally not seeing a piece of the world. It's gone. Neglect is different, and it's kind of weirder. The visual information is getting in, but your brain just doesn't pay attention to it. It's an attention problem, not a sight problem. Figuring out which one is which is a huge step toward the right kind of help. And all of this creates what you see here, the anxiety loop. It's this vicious cycle. Because your vision feels unreliable, your brain kicks into overdrive. You're constantly on high alert, scanning everything, which is just exhausting. That fatigue then makes your vision symptoms feel 10 times worse, which of course makes your brain trust your eyes even less. It is a really brutal feedback loop to be stuck in. So that leads to this incredibly frustrating question, right? You hear people say, oh, recovery is possible, but your day-to-day reality just feels stuck, hopeless even. Why is there such a huge gap between what they say and what you feel? We're going to get to that answer. But first, let's talk about the path that actually gets you unstuck. So, the big idea we're going to unpack today is what I call the stability first path. And I know it sounds completely backward, but I promise you it's true. The absolute fastest way to make progress is to slow way, way down and build a solid foundation to stand on. Now, the most important thing to see here is the order. This is not a random checklist, it is a sequence, and the sequence is everything. You have to start with safety, because that turns down the fear. From there, you focus on function. Just 1 or 2 daily tasks. Then you find the right support so you're not doing this alone, and only then, once you have all of that in place, do you start pushing for progress. Trying to do it in any other order is a recipe for burnout. Okay, so let's start with step 1, safety. The goal here is not a massive home makeover. We're talking about small, simple tweaks to your environment that can have a huge and immediate effect on that background hum of anxiety. A great place to start is with what I call a one-room upgrade. Just pick one room, the one you spend the most time in, and focus on these 4 things. 1. Lighting. Cut down the glare. 2. Contrast. Make important things pop, like a dark remote on a light table. 3. Clutter. Just clear the main path you walk. And 4. Consistency. Put your keys, your phone, your meds in the exact same spot every single time. Predictability is like a balm for an overstressed nervous system. Let me give you a quick example of this in action. Picture a stroke survivor in a huge, bright grocery store. The lights are buzzing, the colors are screaming, and a panic attack is brewing. The first instinct for so many of us is to just grit our teeth and push through it, right? Get it over with. But here's the thing, pushing through just teaches the brain that the grocery store is a dangerous place. So instead, they make a new deal, like a little contract with themselves. The plan is, we'll do 1 aisle and then we'll take a break in the car. They wear a baseball cap to cut the glare from the overhead lights. And they have a simple job, just scan left and right like you're crossing the street. And the outcome wasn't some huge triumphant victory. It was something way more important. It was proof. Proof that the day didn't have to be a battle to be won or lost. It could be negotiated. And that little shift in mindset from force to strategy, well, that changes everything. Okay, so you've started to make your own world safer. Now let's talk about getting the right team on your side. Honestly, just navigating the healthcare system can feel like a full-time job, so let's try to make it a little less confusing. This chart basically breaks down the players. Your neurologist is kind of like the quarterback, handling the big picture stroke follow-up. An ophthalmologist is the eye mechanic. They check the physical health of the eye itself. Now, a neuro-ophthalmologist, that's a key player. They specialize in that exact intersection between the brain and vision. And then you have your neuro-optometrist or occupational therapist, an OT. They're like the coaches who give you the practical day-to-day strategies to live your life. Now, to get the most out of these experts, you have to give them good information. Just saying, my vision feels off, is way too vague. They don't know what to do with that. But if you walk in with a list of specific, real-world examples like these, that's gold. Saying, I keep bumping into door frames on my left side, or when I try to read, the lines all jump around, gives your doctor a clear problem to solve. It's the fastest way to get the right help.
All right, let's talk about a huge, huge problem in stroke recovery: rehab burnout. It's what happens when you try to do too much, too fast, for too long. We need a smarter plan, one that values consistency way more than intensity.
And here's the secret. Your brain doesn't rewire itself in heroic 2-hour marathon sessions. It changes through short, steady, manageable practice that you can actually recover from. We're looking for the minimum effective dose. You know, that feeling of a big, intense workout might feel productive, but it usually leads to a crash. It's the slow, steady, boring consistency that actually builds new pathways in the brain.
And this right here, this answers that big question from before. How do you know if you're helping or hurting? Well, a helpful challenge leaves you feeling tired but okay. You worked, but you can recover. But pushing too far triggers a symptom flare. You get that spike and crash cycle where your symptoms get worse, anxiety goes up, you sleep terribly, and you're worse off the next day. Your body is giving you constant feedback. We just have to learn to listen to it.
Okay, we have covered so much ground, so let's boil it all down into one simple plan. Something you can do in the next 15 minutes to take all this information and turn that feeling of chaos into real forward momentum.
Here it is. It's 3 simple steps. First, grab a piece of paper and write a symptom script. Just 5 bullet points describing your issues, just like those examples we saw. Second, pick just one phone number to call. Your neurologist, you're a family doctor, whoever's the easiest first step. And third, when you make that call, use these magic words. I need to schedule a functional vision evaluation.
And please, remember this. The point right now isn't to create the perfect, color-coded 10-year recovery plan. The point is to take one small step. Just one. The goal is to do something today that makes tomorrow feel just a little bit bigger and a little more full of possibility. So I'll leave you with this to think about. After everything we've talked about today, what is one small, tiny, manageable thing you can do right now that will help your brain feel just a little bit safer tomorrow?